Let's be real. Finances are still a very personal topic. And while we've made strides towards having open money conversations, we still have a long way to go. Since financial literacy isn't included in standard education curriculum, you can't blame yourself for not being great with money. You likely learned a lot of your habits from your parents, and that may not be a good thing. In this episode, I'm sharing some major signs you need help managing your money. And if any of these signs apply to your situation, acknowledge them and take action. Ignoring the signs will only delay your progress. So, as I mentioned, finances can be a very private, personal topic. And I truly believe that our society teaches us that we need to be private when it comes to our money. And thankfully, there are new salary transparency laws that are helping open the door for many conversations, not to mention the rise of social media. We have inside scoop into how the wealthy and unwealthy spend their dollars. Obviously, this can make anyone feel a certain way about their financial situation. But the thing is, very few of us were taught proper money management skills. So I am going to walk you through the major signs you need help managing your money. It's okay if these signs apply to you. Embrace it, acknowledge it, then take action to fix your situation. All right, first sign you need help managing your money. You fear card declines or you actually have card declines. So this could be a credit card or a debit card, but there is nothing more embarrassing than having your card be declined out in public because you really don't have the money to afford what you're trying to buy. So if your card declines for any other reason outside of you don't have the money for it, that's okay. But if you know you don't have the money for it and you are swiping your card, taking a risk, playing Russian roulette, trying to figure out if it'll go through or not, that does not feel good. Not only will switching payment methods not help, but then you kind of have to walk away from what you needed, say, I'll be back later. And I think we've all been there at some point in time. I know I have long ago, way before City Girl Savings. I've definitely experienced card declines. And if you have experienced card declines because of a lack of funds, or if you are constantly fearing a card decline, playing Russian roulette because you know you don't have enough money in your account or you're timing your paycheck hitting, this may be a sign that you need help managing your money. If you don't know what you have in your bank account at all times, that's a problem. If you are trying to spend money you don't have, that's a problem. Now, as I mentioned, sometimes card declines happen for other reasons, like fraud or you're traveling. But if you get a card decline, be honest with yourself about why. When the decline has to do with a lack of sufficient funds to make the purchase, I want you to take that as a hint that things need to change in your situation. All right, another sign you need help managing your money. You live paycheck to paycheck. Now, I feel like we are making more and more money as a society, but things are also costing more and more. So if you live paycheck to paycheck, I just want to throw out there that you are not alone. It is very common, even among people who make six figures. So I just can't even begin to describe all of the ways that living paycheck to paycheck is a sign of either you're not making enough or you are not managing what you do make. And I want to just spend a little time here because if you are living paycheck to paycheck because you truly do not make enough money, like you don't overspend it all, but you're barely keeping the lights on, you're barely keeping a roof over your head and food on the table, that is different. That is not a money management problem. It is an income problem. Okay, but for the sake of this episode, let's assume it's a money management problem. When you live paycheck to paycheck, it only takes one unexpected expense to just throw everything off track. Like you're spinning all these plates and then something comes and throws something at you and all the plates crash. How stressful does that sound? Imagine living in that kind of fear that you know you are one wrong move away from not being able to pay your bills. Do not do that to yourself. Instead, recognize that you are in the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck and start putting things in place to help you break the cycle. I think one of the best things that you can do to break the cycle is start saving, especially saving for that inevitable unexpected expense, right? It's coming. It probably already came, right? But another one is on the way. Even if it's $25 a paycheck, just going into a savings account, it can help you break free of living paycheck to paycheck. Okay, next sign you need some help managing your money. You have nothing in savings or no savings at all. So let's start with this. If you do not have a savings account, this is one of the biggest signs you need help managing your money. You may think you have your savings lumped in with your checking account money, but that's not true. A checking account is not a savings account. Any funds in your checking account are likely to be spent because that is exactly what that type of account is designed for. It's designed for you to spend money. So if you have money that needs to be saved, open a savings account, put that savings in that savings account, and you'll thank me later. Now, let's assume you do have a savings account, but your problem is there's never money in it for long. So regardless of how much money you make, you should absolutely be saving something. And the pay yourself first principle can be learned from one of the best money management books, in my opinion, of all time, which is The Richest Man in Babylon. I'll make sure to link to it in the show notes. But there is a principle in this book that shares the importance of always saving a percentage of what you earn. And when you look at your savings in percentage form, you can make it realistic for your situation. So for example, instead of saying that you need to save $250 every month, but you only take home $1,000, saying that you need to save 10% is much more realistic because that means $100 would need to be saved. So I like the notion of giving yourself a percentage because then it's true to your situation. But if you're not sure where to start, 10% of your income saved is an amazing starting point. If that seems too high for you, start smaller and work your way up. The point is to always save something. And when saving money seems just completely impossible for your situation, it's a sign you need to seek help with managing your budget and your finances. There should always be something that can be saved. Doesn't have to be huge amounts of money, but it has to be enough that can be put away and not touched. Okay, piggybacking off of the previous sign you need help managing your money is this next one. You save money, but you take it right back. So saving money is great, but saving too much money is dangerous. And when you put too much money into your savings account, you end up taking it right back. And this creates a bad long-term habit. It's almost like you're training yourself to always pull money from your savings. So remember, a savings account is not a checking account. Your savings account should not be touched unless it is an emergency or you have reached whatever savings goal you had set out to reach with that account. So constantly oversaving your money means you constantly don't have enough to live on in your checking account. This is another huge sign that you definitely need some help with your budget and money management system. Next sign you need some help managing your money. You have less than $100 in your bank account, and I'm talking all accounts combined. So unless you are under the age of 18 and you have people supporting you, aka mom and dad, there should be no reason why your combined bank account value is less than $100. Actually, there probably is a reason, and the reason is poor money management. And I know that sounds harsh, but I totally understand that certain circumstances and scenarios may lead to your accounts having such a low balance, but I'm really not talking about those situations. Although I will say, having that savings account, having an emergency fund could help significantly in those circumstances, but I'm talking about the scenario where you have a job, but you don't have a budget and you constantly overspend. Those situations can quickly end up with your account balances totaling less than $100. As you get older, this becomes more and more unacceptable. Okay, so stop justifying why it's happening. Stop blaming outside factors for your situation. It's time to take responsibility and get help. So, what is your immediate next step? Get a budget plan in place and figure out if you are overspending your money or if you need to make more money. Now, I have to throw this plug in here. I create budget plans for my clients. So if you have never been able to create a budget plan that works, if you don't even know where to start with creating a budget plan, then I need you to let me create one for you, right? Like, let's just get it done because you absolutely need a budget. I'm going to link to it in the show notes, but if you are listening and you are like, I'm ready to take action now, go to citygirlsavings.com/start-your-budget. Okay? I can help you get your budget in place. All right, next sign you need help managing your money. You have debt and you keep using your credit cards. In addition to the paycheck to paycheck cycle, the debt cycle can be just as cruel. The thing about debt is it's designed to keep you coming back for more. You use one debt, you max that debt out, then you move on to the next and the next and the next. And before you know it, your balances are past the point of your control. And if you have debt or find yourself still using credit cards, this is a major sign that things need to change. Because once your debt gets out of your control, it can take years to overcome. Isn't that funny? Can we just think about that for a second? You can literally spend so much money in a short amount of time with your credit card, but then spend the next years paying it back. And I'm speaking from my own experience here, okay? Check out episode 15, my debt-free story. I was there. I was the girl who racked up all her credit cards in a matter of no time at all, but it took me years to get myself out of that debt. So totally speaking from experience, I'll link to that episode in the show notes. But my point is, please don't do that to yourself. I did, and I truly wish I hadn't. Can't go back, can't change it. But not only does debt keep you from building your wealth, it costs you so much money thanks to interest. And I can tell you this. If you have someone or some situation help you pay off your debt, like you come into extra money or someone blesses you with paying off your debt, you are more likely to get back into it. And the reason is because you didn't really feel the pain of the slow payoff progress. And I learned this the hard way, okay? The pain of slow progress, especially after a period of quick progress, is brutal. It hurts, right? We don't want to do it. It's taking forever to pay off this debt. However, when the debt is paid off, you're significantly less likely to put yourself through that again. So you're automatically going to be smarter with your money. So if you want my tip on how to avoid it, make sure you get to the root of what got you into debt in the first place. So you can never go back into debt. That is the only way to ensure you don't end up back in debt, especially if you had some help getting rid of it, or if you had a windfall or lump sum come your way and you used it to pay off debt. Please, please, please make sure you get to the root of what caused that debt in the first place. I hope you can learn from my experience, especially if you are lucky enough to have your debt or even a portion of your debt covered. Okay, next sign you need help managing your money. You have not started saving for retirement. Thank goodness, I started saving for retirement at age 22. I was fresh out of college with my first job, and after a 90-day grace period, I was able to start contributing to my company's 401k plan. The match was 5%, so I contributed 5%. Mind you, I was a finance major in college, so I knew the value of contributing to a retirement plan. I didn't know as much as I needed to know, but I knew enough to at least take advantage. Unfortunately, most people don't know that or don't even do that, or they think they can't afford to save for retirement. But the reality is you can't afford not to save for retirement, because the earlier you start saving, the less you will need to save regularly to ensure that you actually have enough come retirement time. And to make sure that you have more money saved for your retirement. Compounding growth is a fascinating thing. The earlier a person starts saving a certain amount, the significantly more they will have come retirement time. But the longer that person waits to start saving that certain amount, the less they will have. So to make up for that lost growth, they'll need to save a lot more each month. And that gets harder and harder to do, even if you make more and more as you get older, right? Your expenses go up too. It's just the way of life. One of the most important money management moves you can do is start saving for retirement. And if you don't think your situation will allow it, I challenge you to think again and revisit your budget. Okay, next sign you need help managing your money. You don't have a budget. You probably guessed this sign was coming, but I've shared the importance of having a budget so many times on this podcast, across social media, and the City Girl Savings newsletter that I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop because a budget is the number one tool for financial success. If you do not have a budget, you need help managing your money, period. A budget is one of the most important personal finance tools a person can have. And without a budget, you really have no idea what you can afford to spend, how far your income takes you, and if you can actually save money regularly. Now, you may not have a budget because you don't think it will actually help your situation. You must understand how important one is then, right? When people tell me their struggles with money, I always ask if they have a budget. If the answer is no, then that's usually the root cause of their struggles. They don't really know what's happening with their finances. They don't know what should be happening with their finances. You can't fix what you don't know is broken. And without a budget, you don't know what the problem really is. You don't know what's broken. So, piggybacking off of that, the next sign you need help managing your money is you don't know where to start with the budget. So maybe I've convinced you that you do need a budget, but you have no idea where to start. Please don't leave it there, right? Please don't leave it at, well, I never learned how to create a budget, therefore I won't have one. No, I want to take it a step further, because if you don't have a budget because you don't know where to start, that's a poor excuse. There are so many resources, myself included, City Girl Savings included, to help you create a budget, from YouTube tutorials to apps to worksheets to people like me who create budget plans for people. There's truly no excuse. So if you don't know where to start, Google budget template, or let me create a budget for you, or go to YouTube, how to create a budget, right? There is no excuse not to take action on this. And the good news is, this money management problem can be solved by you creating a budget yourself or having someone create the budget for you. So if the problem is you don't have a budget, the solution is get yourself a budget, right? And you'll see a lot of things come to light when you do that. Okay, next sign you need help managing your money. Final sign you need help managing your money. You can't control your spending. So what if you do have a budget? Then the issue is not you having a budget, but you actually sticking to your budget because you can't control your spending. When a person can't control their spending, it's likely because they aren't holding themselves accountable, or they're not engulfed in their goals, right? Their goals aren't as motivating as they should be. Their immediate want is worth way more than their long-term need. Fortunately, that's a fixable problem. Working with a coach, having an accountability partner, or taking yourself out of situations that trigger you to overspend can do wonders. So if you can't control your spending, it's definitely a sign you need help managing your money, but there is definitely hope. Okay, so I went through a lot of the signs that you need help managing your money, but I want to just spend a few minutes talking about what to do if any of these signs apply to you. It's time to own it, right? Like if any of these signs have your name written all over it, it's time to own it. It's time to take action. It's time to change it up. And here are a few things you can do. First, start consuming more personal finance content. I want you to take a look at the types of content you've been consuming and how it's impacted your financial decisions. And content could be the conversations you're having. If you and your friends are always complaining that you all are broke, or you follow flashy celebs on social media who encourage you to accumulate more material things, I really want you to take the time to think about those things and how they're impacting your financial decisions, because your surroundings play a huge role in how you think about money and life. So start consuming personal finance content on a daily basis that encourages and uplifts and motivates. Listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos. There's a City Girl Savings YouTube channel. I'll link to it in the show notes. Read finance books, study personal finance blogs. There are plenty of ways you can start consuming content that helps you improve your financial situation. Another thing you can do is consider working with a finance coach. If you know you need more personalized or one-on-one assistance, I highly suggest you consider working with a finance coach. You probably already know this, but I'm a finance coach. My financial focus coaching program consists of 12 weekly sessions with one-on-one clients where we go through all of their struggles with money. We work to fix them. We put a budget in place. We track their spending, and we put the pieces in place to help them succeed. So a finance coach, whether it's me or anyone else, can be very helpful if you don't know where to start or how to turn things around on your own. And I will say, yes, it's likely going to be an investment, but sometimes an investment is what brings you the greatest return, right? I did a whole episode on why you need to pay to get better with money or any area of life. I'm going to link to it in the show notes, because if you're one of those people who thinks, well, why should I spend money to get better with money? I need you to listen to that episode, because when you spend money, you're actually putting skin in the game, okay? So you don't want to waste your money, especially if you're bad with money or you don't have a lot of it. So you are going to do everything you need to do what the coach tells you, follow what the program says so that you can truly get the results and turn your situation around. And the final thing you can do is learn how to stop spending. If you want to give money management a go on your own, my biggest piece of advice would be to learn how to control yourself, learn how to control your spending. Because when you can say no to spending money on things you don't need, you can put that money to better use. So I want you to look at your budget, see where you can stop spending like immediately, like right now. And once you know where you can cut back or stop spending, you can start planning to save more money or plan to pay off your debt. Controlling yourself when it comes to spending money can be an absolute game changer. So start working on that slowly but surely. It's a skill that you can get better at. Okay, I just want to end by saying that I know it can be hard to take a look in the mirror and realize you need to change. And if any of the signs that I covered today apply to you, then I want you to acknowledge that and start thinking about what you can do better. Start thinking about the change you can make, because money management is a skill that everyone can learn and be better with, and it is a total game changer to help you live a life you love. We are all capable of change. We just have to believe it for ourselves and act on it.